into the wild blue yonder. There we go. And we live. Now then, we have got, yes. We are up, we are kicking. As you can see, I've been working on eyes today. Oh, damn it, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. That was a hell of a sneeze. Wow, why does that happen? Anyway, as I was about to say, I've been working on eyes today. I've been doing all kinds of eye pictures and messing around with various features of Clip Studio Paint, and just trying to, figure out what the hell I am doing over here. And you can see over in some of these areas, I'm like over here, I'm messing with the airbrush and this pink one. And I've messed around with some shape tools on the one up here in the top middle. And I've done some stuff with a brown eye that hasn't worked too well, and some stuff with green eyes. I did a bunch of blue eyes, and a lot of this stuff is sitting over in the artwork channel over on the Discord server. And then here in the middle, there's kind of this killer feature in Clip Studio Paint where you have all of these 3D models that you can just like throw into the middle of stuff. Like if I create a new illustration, I can grab like the mermaid pose and I can pull it over here. And this is absolutely trivial to just move around and rotate and all of that sort of thing. And you can move all of the different pieces of the body and pose it around and do all kinds of stuff. And you can pose it however you like, really. And you end up with just like whatever pose you're actually going for. And then like theoretically, you could just like create a new layer. And then on that layer, you could go, okay, I'm going to just sketch over top of this. And you could sketch over top of that, and you could build your character. And obviously, there's not a whole lot to this, but it gives you something to work from, and it gives you like reasonable proportions to work on. Now, a lot of people will, of course, call this cheating, and I am definitely among the people that would call this cheating, because I don't think you're learning a whole lot from that if that's the way you're going to produce your final result. However, there's nothing wrong with using that kind of process to get stuff done. For example, I'm going to be working with construction and working with construction and sketching and looking stuff over during this stream, because that's instructive and it's helpful, and you can learn to do various stuff that, like, I'm thoroughly incoherent today. I am not having a good day. But let's jump down here and we'll pull out something or other. Let's pull out some kind of reference. Here's Suzuki Akiho from the anime Parasite the Maxim. And it is instructive to look at this and go, okay, well, here is, first of all, let's create a new layer and let's set the color in that layer, and then we'll change the color to red, and we'll make sure we're on full red. And now I can, well, that's an awfully large pencil. So what you can do is you can now kind of identify what's the shape of the face underneath the hair. Where do the features go? Where do the eyes go? Where are the eyebrows? And just kind of get a feel for where those landmarks are. Where does the neck end? Where would your collarbones be? You can't see the collarbones, but they're in there. That would be your collarbones. Here are these sloping shoulders. Here's your breastbone, and here's that two anime titty reference I've talked about. And then you can go down a halfway point here and down the halfway point here, And now you've got a pretty good idea where everything is underneath of the clothing, even though you can't see it. And you can go over all of this stuff here. And here's your knees. There are the legs. Here's the curve of the waist. There's your shoulder. Your shoulder comes down. The hand would be back behind the back here. There's the rest of the arm. Here's the arm here. There's the elbow, the wrist. That puts our rib cage right there at about 1 2/3 as usual. And you can get this pretty good idea of where everything is. And then if you come over here, we're going to create a new paper layer. We're going to set that to my typical 39, and we're going to pull that down to 0, and there we got that. And now we can turn off that reference, and we've got a reasonably good representation of where everything on this character is. Now we've kind of missed the hand here, but we can just kind of rough in the hand. There's our hand, and now we can come back over here. We can turn off the reference layer. We can turn it back on. We've also kind of missed this trapezius and the shoulder over here. And we can identify where the pieces are, and we can identify, have we recognized all of the bits and pieces of the character? Do we have a good idea of where the form of the character is and where everything sits? And we pretty much do. And what we might want to do is we might want to go into a little detail about where the breasts are. Breasts are important to a female character. Breasts are important to drawing the female character. So we might want to identify where exactly the breasts sit and make sure that gets onto our landmark setup. And then that's really all there is to it, is just kind of going over that and looking at things and seeing how they fit together. And then you can go off to the side, for example. You can turn that off and you can go, okay, so let's come off to the side here, and we'll go, okay, here's the... Well, let's flip this, actually. Let's flip that over. So you come over here and you go, okay, let's bring that down. Then this is over here, and we've got the elbow, and this comes down here to the wrist, and there's the hand right there. And just to the side of that hand over here, and we've got, here's the side of the body, that comes down over here, and where's the knee? The knee is right here. We can draw that line right there, or we can pull down a ruler from the top and go, okay, here's the knees, and we can try to, no, let's back to that, and let's turn that off. So we've got kind of this situation, and then we've got the other leg over here. Here's the curve of the leg, and there's the knee. Here's the curve of the thigh coming up. Here's the waist. That comes around. And what you're looking for here is to understand where everything fits together well enough that you can effectively duplicate it. So looking at that, we got the eyebrows here, we got the eyes right about here, there's the nose, and there's where the mouth will sit. And if you do this correctly, then you end up with a pretty good approximation of where everything sits and where everything goes. And that way you can just kind of check your work by grabbing the ruler and bring it up. Okay, I made that a little bit high. That works out well. The bottom of the chest there's the elbows. Okay, I've got the elbow on the left side a little bit too high up. So let's go in and fix that. I'll switch back to that layer. I'll switch over to transparent. Switch back to the brush, switch over to transparent. And I am not going to look at the reference. Now, you can't tell that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do this just by feel. Okay, and having done that just by feel and not really looked at where I did it, now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to check with my ruler. And we'll see, okay, now I've overcompensated. I've put it down too low. That's typical. You tend to overcompensate. When you try to fix something, it is reasonably common that in trying to fix it, you will do a little too much in the other direction. So let's fix that right there. Fix that right there. And this body is sitting more in front of it. So now let's come back over to our object menu and let's grab our ruler and let's bring it up here. And now we've got it in about the right place. Now that we've got it in about the right place, we can kind of look at that and see, all right, everything fits together, and we can again go through and do our to animate titties reference. And we can jump over here and grab and we go there, check there, check there. A little bit off on that one. All the rest is pretty much in place. So that's not terrible. That's not an awful job on that. And what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get a feel for it, get an understanding of how the proportions fit together so that you can actually draw these things from memory when the time comes. Okay, and I didn't bother doing the feet because I suck at doing feet, and that's typical. That's a thing that a lot of people do, funnily enough. Okay, so I've been going over that one. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I typically do not save this kind of stuff, but I need to so I can look at it and just like bear in mind that I am doing stuff and I am making progress. And you can see some of my awful work in there because I'm a terrible person. And let's jump up here and let's take a look at something else. Let's grab let's grab Machiose from Fire Force. Okay, here we go. And we'll come over here. We'll make ourselves a new layer and we'll make ourselves a paper layer. New layer, paper, and we're gonna take this over here and we're gonna go 39. We're gonna drag that down to 0 just for completeness. And here we have pretty much the same situation. We're gonna jump up here and we're gonna drag the hue up to 360. And with this one, Machiose is a very muscular woman. And you can see here, this is actually really good because you can see on this particular reference here that as you zoom in, you can see that the curve of the breast has been brought in underneath the armpit where it belongs. And you can see they've really gone out of their way to put the axilla where it belongs. Now, they do oddly tend to not put the chest muscle over top of the deltoid where it belongs. It should really come over top of this, but they frequently just like run that over top of it. They run the deltoid over top of the chest muscle. That is not how it works. The chest muscle comes over top of the deltoid like that. So let's move that up, and we've got this there, and let's zoom out a bit. So there's that, and here's this. The elbow has got to be right about here. You can't see it, which is the thing. Now, the forearm is going to come out. This is one of the things about biceps. Biceps come down here, and they come between two groups of muscles on the forearm right here. And those two groups of muscles, the one on the outside, okay, this one right here, that one gets really bulgy and really kind of pokes out, Okay, because when you clench your fist, when you turn your wrist, there's a bone here and a bone here, and as you turn your wrist, this bone crosses over this bone. So you've still got this bone is connected down here, and this bone is connected down here, but they're twisting over each other. And all of the muscles that are lying on top of that right here, all of the muscles on the inside of the forearm, as this bone turns over, it pushes all that muscle over here to the side, and you can see that kind of really bulge out. You can see there's not much going on there when I have my wrist straight, but as I turn, you can see that bulge really pop out right there. Okay, there's not a whole lot, and then as I turn, all of it gets displaced to the side. You do not get that on the other side. So this side of the elbow, this side of the forearm, the outer side of the forearm, it doesn't get really pushed out, and it doesn't really bulge a whole lot. This part is the part that bulges and really makes that kind of big lump. And back here, there's not a whole lot of muscle back here. What there is very kind of long and stringy. There's a lot of tendons. And what you do have back here tends to sit almost up in between those bones. It just kind of layers over top of it. So you've got some definition, but you don't have a whole lot of bulk here usually. I mean, you can have if you got like a longshoreman or some such shit, but that's not typical. Most people don't really beef up their forearms that much. Mine are a lot farther than most normal people go, because I do a lot of forearm-based work with my kung fu training, my martial arts, and all of that. This is definitely something that that bears some discussion, is the shape of breasts. Breasts will pretty much always curve on the bottom, but on the top, they can bulge upward and then straighten out toward the top, or they can also just come straight up. They can really fill this entire area and come all the way up to the clavicle in just like a straight line. They can just come all the way up without dipping down much at all. They can also be kind of concave. They can dip inward here. They can come up more or less straight and low, and you get kind of this perky shape here. Or they can actually come in and they can be sort of a scoop. You can get sort of this scooped thing going on with them. It goes like that. And all of these different shapes depend on how the breasts have developed over the course of this person's lifetime, and whether they develop particularly large ones or not. And the distribution of the tissue within the breast can be very, very different from one person to the next. There's no one specific correct shape for a breast. And as breasts are smaller, they may be curved on the bottom, but they may not sit very low. They might curve and just, again, come straight up the top, or they can curve upward and then come inward. And then, of course, you have your various forms of immature breasts that are just, they're barely just a bump, you know, and they actually don't poke outward much at all. But it really depends not just on the age of the character, but on how exactly they're developed. Because you've got women that have very perky breasts that kind of sit way up in the air and almost like point at the sky. And then you've got women that have kind of, they have banana-y boobs where everything is just like way down low. That can happen, particularly in your older women, particularly in a woman who has been very large and lost a lot of weight. Because as you gain weight, the breasts are a good place for fat tissue to deposit. So as women gain weight, they'll gain weight in their breasts, and then in addition, you'll also get some swelling of the breasts during pregnancy. So if you get a woman that's large, gets pregnant, and then after having their children, they lose a lot of weight, you'll get a lot of kind of deflated looking situations that come way down. and they're almost like flat little pancakes. And there are all kinds of different shapes and all kinds of different structures. And really the only way to get a solid understanding of those is to look at a lot of breasts, which, you know, something that a lot of people typically do. I'm not one to go around looking at a lot of breasts because I just don't really see the appeal of them, to be honest. Breasts are just not that interesting to me. Never have been. I understand that other people really like them. I don't particularly. And you can see here, these lines give you an understanding of where the actual muscles are. This here is the rectus abdominis, okay? And that's kind of sectioned off into little vertical sections, okay? And that comes down in 8 sections. And then over here, you got your obliques. And you got your lateral obliques are going to come down over here. And then you got your thigh muscles over here. And all of that kind of comes down to that single point where everything fits together. And then you've got, there's kind of a dual structure to the thigh. You've got front thigh muscles, and then you've got rear thigh muscles. Okay, so you kind of got this sort of thing going on with thigh muscles, where you've got this triangular muscle that comes out, and then you've got the long muscle that comes down. And over here, this is a fun one. The pit of the neck, right here, as the neck comes down, there's this spot right in between the clavicles, right at the pit of the neck. And if you draw a 45-degree angle out from that, okay, you've got your center line here. If you go 45 degrees out from that, okay, then you hit the nipple. And if you continue that 45-degree bit right there, if you continue it down and around the rib cage past the nipple, then right in here is where you get your serratus anterior, okay, which is those little shark teeth muscles that you get on the side. There are a lot of people call them superhero muscles. Some people call them shark teeth. And they kind of interlace with the lateral obliques, which come up here. All of these muscles kind of interlace into one another. So you've got a muscle that's coming down from underneath of the shoulder blade here, and it's inserting between the ribs. And then you've got the obliques are coming up here, and it's fanning out and inserting between those and also going between the ribs. So you've got is these two muscles that are kind of doing this and pulling against each other. And as you twist, as your body twists, if Maki were to turn in this direction, she were to move this shoulder down toward her hip here, then all of those muscles right in there, you've got these muscles that pull in this direction, and you've got these muscles here that also pull in this direction. And all of that pulls together. So as that shoulder moves toward the hip, all of those muscles are going to tense and stand out, because that's what they're doing, is pulling that part of the body down to meet the hip. And this is really not doing a great job of simplifying the body. It's more discussing how the anatomy fits together. But you know, that's important stuff too. I'm a little off the rails here. Sort of, there's your rib cage, and running down the back, there's the neck, there's the spine and the back there, and that'll wrap around and come back up. There's your center line coming up the front. Here's the waistline and the pelvis, and there's the thigh, there's the rest of the pelvis there, rest of the pelvis there. Right here you got your crotch. So there's that line, and there's the muscle there, and there's that line, there's the leg, and there's the muscle there, comes up along through that. And then up in here you got all of your guts. This in here, a lot of people fuck up. They forget that if this side of your chest dips down, all of this stuff will really crunch in. You can take your rib cage down really close to your pelvis, and as you do that, the other side will widen out. So if she bent over to the side here, if we bent that spine over, the rib cage is going to stay connected in the same spot, and as it moves over, this is going to crunch in and this is going to stretch out. And obviously she's limited in how far she can stretch in that case. But if she does that stretching, everything crunches in on one side and stretches out on the other. If you try to keep the space here, then you get the problem that I had with my sketch earlier that I was talking about last week and earlier in this week's video, where the torso is just too long, because you've got one side stretched out and you've got the other side stretched out too. The other side has to crunch in. It's all pivoting right on that central axis there. So for example, if you jump in over here, when you've got your rib cage that's sitting up here like this, and you've got your pelvis that's sitting down here like this, if you take your rib cage and let me use a selection here. If you take your rib cage and you rotate it, okay, it's still sitting on the spine. It's still got to sit on the spine, okay? So because it's still got to sit on the spine and the spine's still got to be the same length, all right, then this side has to crunch in. And if that side crunches in, then this side has to stretch out. And if you don't do that properly, then you get funky looking characters. And this should look fine even if I reverse it. And it does. Because I've actually been thinking about that a lot, is the whole like bending and twisting kind of thing. Twisting is another fun one. I'll go into twisting at some other point. But as you twist, you know, you've got a part of the body that's moving away from you and a part of the body that's moving towards you, and you have to figure out what gets interlaced. And the rule of thumb is that you interlace the joint to the advancing member. The front part is towards you. Okay, so if somebody's twisting away from you like that, then as they twist away from you, you're going to have on this side, they're going to twist like this, and on that side, they're going to twist like that. And that's going to fit together that way. And what was I doing? Oh, yeah, we're supposed to be, we're supposed to be simplifying reference. I'm not all here today. I've been working on eyes all day. Eyes are fun. Here's a good one. This one's got a good deep perspective shot in it. Okay, and this is Kasara from Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple. We're going to do a new paper layer to sit underneath of that, and again, we're going to picture value of 39, hue of 0. There we go. So there's our paper, and now we're going to create a new layer, and on that new layer, we're going to go, yep, there's that, and pull this up to 360, okay, and we're going to start by just kind of tracing around the foot, not the sole of the shoe, but the foot, and then we've got the heel and the top of the foot here, and then we've got in very, very deep perspective, we've got this calf right here, and we've got this knee here, and then here's the thigh, and the thigh narrows dramatically as it moves back, and then here's your pelvis, and here's the other thigh here, and you can see that kind of dramatic foreshortening that's going on here. And here, again, you can see that on this side, here's Kasara's body crunching in on this side and stretching out on this side. You can see the difference in size between the two sides, and that's important. So you get that stretch in there. And here's her upper arm, and here's her lower arm, and you can notice here there's kind of this diamond shape to her arm. Okay, that's a little bit different. I'll let me see. Do I have a good picture of a guy in that kind of pose? I should have something. Do I have any guys like anywhere in this group? Have I saved any pictures of guys for reference? I don't know. Maybe not. That would that would be a little bit indicative of the kind of person that I am, I guess. Yeah, it's all chicks. It's all that's all I do. I just save chicks. That's it. Supposed to plot have I gotten? No, that's all. Yeah. Okajoma. Here we go. We got some guys in here. Let me take a look at this one. Have we got a good shot of his elbow? We do not. That is way too low resolution. More reference. Come on. I gotta have at least one guy somewhere in here for reference. There's gotta be. I mean, why wouldn't there be? This is ridiculous. Man. Yes, I'm a transparently creepy sort of person. Here's a guy. How's the resolution? The resolution on this is terrible. Yeah. You can actually kind of see it though, as the arm comes down here, there's a flat part on the elbow. So it's not a diamond shape. It comes down and it's a flat shape. It's more of a blocky shape. And you really can't see it that well in here either. This is way too low resolution. I got all these high-res checks, and that's like it. Not Black Lagoon, no. What else have I got here? Surely I've got something. It must be somewhere. Maybe your butt. I could just show you my elbow, but that's not really very helpful. We need to see this on an actual anime reference image. Oh, geez. This is frustrating. Should be easier than this. Let's see. Have I got... Oh, what's the guy? Do I have a picture of Macho Matsuda? Should have a picture of him. No, I went looking for one. Matsuo! There we go. Have we got a good picture of his elbow? There's his elbow. Yeah, you kind of sort of see right here. You can see that, first of all, let me create a new layer. And we'll do that. And here's the curve of his elbow. And right here, you can see there's this big hinge section that comes out right there. And you can see this big bulge of the muscle that's coming off of the side of his arm. I'm not that size, but you see the way that his wrist is cocked out like this. And that's the same basic concept. That's what's pushing all of that out. All of that is being pushed out by the turn in the wrist right in here. Okay. So there's the one bone right there, and the other one is twisted over it. And all of this is sitting on top of both of those. So all of that's sitting on top of those and being pushed out. And again, right here, you can see that he's got this sort of pokey bit that comes out. It kind of comes out and does this sort of thing. And over here, you've got all of the forearm muscle, and over here, you've got his tricep, and over here's the bulge of the bicep. All that stuff fits together, but you've got that kind of box shape that comes out right there. Guys have that. Women, not so much. Women have much more of a rounded, angular shape, and you can see that in all kinds of additional stuff. I got another picture of Matsuo here, but you can't see as well right there. That's that bit right there. I knew I had a guy in here somewhere. Here's another one. Can you really see here? You can't see as well, but you can see kind of that very prominent, very clear there. He is not farting in the swimming pool. I think there's somebody under the water. No, that's not what they're doing. Stop it. God. I am a terrible person. And here's a good, I have a good picture of Korebayashi from Gate, but she's punching somebody in the dick, so I can't really put that on a YouTube stream because, you know, there would be a dick being punched and they would get upset about that. I need to pull out another one here, something from another studio, something for another option. There we go. Here's the eosinophil from Cells at Work. And you can kind of see here, there's that very sort of pointed look right in there. And you get that same sort of pointed look in there. And this is exaggerated in anime, of course, but you can also see it on regular people, on regular human beings, all over the place. So let's throw that out. Let's use the eosinophil as our next. Let's use that as our next image to simplify. We'll create a new layer, paper, and we'll jump up here. We'll jump down here, actually. Jump down here, jump over here, and we'll go. $39. There we go. Okay, and now we'll create a new layer and we'll color it. There we go. And now we'll break this down. Here's the head. This is probably the worst live stream I've done yet. Oh wait, I've only done like 2 other live streams. Like 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Actually, they were bad. Oh well. Well, that's not very nice. I should do a better job. So here we divide that in half. And now if that beginning section right there, and then we've got another segment here, and then we've got another segment here, and that's our proportions. And you've got her kind of leaning back, but you can see she's not leaning back too far. Once again, back to the terrible female posture lesson. Okay, she's not leaning back too far because she doesn't have big, massive honking breasts. She's just got she's got relatively small breasts hanging off of the front of her rib cage. She doesn't have to lean back that far. Her balance is not overly affected. Here's this. These upper arms seem too long to me. It looks to me like this particular piece of fan art has dropped the ball on the proportions, because this arm here looks way, way longer than that arm there. And that sort of thing happens all the time. But identifying it is the important part. So here's the formation there. And that all comes together, and we've got the hand here. Got fingers there. There's the brim of the cap, and there's the cap itself. Then we've got Hair comes out over here. Whee! There's some hair around. I suck at doing hair. That's something I really need to work on. There's the eye, the nose, the mouth. Mouth needs to go up a little bit. Up about there. Nose needs to go up a little bit. I was sloppy on that. No excuse for that. But you pull that off, and it's still readable. You can still kind of see the pose. You can see what's going on. And I do not have the military fork kind of thing she carries around with her, which really should have been drawn on the sketch layer. You know, this is likely to be a major part of my. You know, that's probably something that I need to seriously work on. Is like if I'm drawing a particular thing, like let's say I want to draw a particular pose. What I really need to do is kind of sketch out the pose and then think about refining that pose in a separate. I've been thinking kind of in certain terms about how to go from the blank canvas to the canvas with what I want on it, which typically ends up being not much better than a stick figure. But I've really been kind of trying to think in more of a painting style. And in painting, you layer stuff together. You go from a generic scene to a more detailed scene and a more detailed scene and a more detailed scene until you have the full scene that you're going for. But you're layering stuff over top of one another, and you kind of only get one shot at it, because when you paint, if you don't get the tree trunk right, then you just don't get the tree trunk right. You know, and I think what I need to think more along the lines of is more like comic book art, where you start off with your pencils, and after your pencils, then you move on to your inking and you move on to your coloring. Maybe that's a direction that I want to go with it, and kind of think of it in those terms instead of just in terms of I want to make the thing that I want to make and find the process that gets me there. And that's one of the things I was running into with my eye work, was that I would rough in the shape of the eye, and having roughed in the shape of the eye, I would then find that the rough shape of the eye was about all I could do, was about all I could get put together, was that kind of rough shape. And I never really refined it or got it to what I would consider a final quality piece of work. And that's very much something that I'm struggling with and that I don't know how to get to, is the thing where I go from nothing on the paper to something actually decent on the paper. And I'm struggling with that and trying to figure out how to make that happen. I can close that. I don't need it. But I haven't been having much luck. I mean, I've been getting somewhere with some of my work, you know, but I'm still not actually getting to the place that I want to be getting. It's like I can put this guy's hands in his pocket, so I don't have to draw his hands. Nobody will know that's what I did. Nobody ever knows that's what you did. It says literally everybody, and they are all wrong. We all know exactly what you did. We know why you put his hands in his pockets, because you can't draw hands. But then it's like, if I put something like this together, then I don't do a bad job of constructing the basic layout, but when it comes time to actually turn it into something that could actually go up on, say, my Instagram page, and I could go, hey, this is pretty good. Yeah, I never seem to get there. So again, I'm like holding a cup of coffee and looking up at the stars or something like that. And the pose reads, but there's stuff wrong with it. This head That's not right. That's not right. I have messed up a lot of stuff in this because I just tried to go straight to it, you know, and just going straight to it isn't the right way to go about this. I needed to take more time on this, and I needed to do some kind of construction-y stuff with it. The elbows are in about the right place. That's good. I didn't fuck that up. This leg is too short. Again, I do that a lot. This leg here, I believe, is also too short. I believe that this is still too short, that it needs to come way down. Let's check with our anime titty reference. 2 anime titties. 3 anime titties. 4 anime titties. 1, 2. Yeah, the knee needs to be right about here. So that needs to be the knee, which means that this needs to come out around here. That's more what I'm looking for. And I understand what I did wrong, and I understand what I need to do to fix it, but I never actually do the thing to fix it. I just kind of rough it in and never get anything really completed. I need to start thinking about how to do that. I need to start worrying about actually producing some kind of finished piece, some kind of something that can go on, like, that can go on Twitter and that can go on Instagram, and I can go, look, I actually don't completely fucking suck at everything that I do. That's really a direction I need to drive, is to have something visually impressive that I can show to the world and go, I did a thing, and they can go, yep, you sure did, you did a thing. I don't have that right now. I don't have anything like that right now, and that is a problem. I need to do something about that. Anyway, let's find another piece of reference, and we'll work with that. Let's go with I don't know. Let's go with Jakuzure Nonon. There we go. And what is this thing up in the corner? I don't know. Some kind of layout thing that somebody did. But let's do the same little dance. We'll start out by adding a new layer for paper. A 39 there. Okay. Set the hue down to 0. Okay. And then we'll do a new layer here. And we'll take that layer and we'll set the color to a hue of 360. And there we go. And now we can simplify this. And you can see here, this is not a younger character, but a petite character. She's actually not an underage character, although a lot of people think she is, just because, you know, she's small, but she's, what is this? What is this little, what is that supposed to be? That's a bow tie of some sort, but it's just sticking out. It doesn't look right. Here's this pronounced curve. What she's trying to do here with this pronounced curve in the lower back is to emphasize and thrust out what little she's got in the chest area. And you can see here that what we've got here, as she's thrusting this out, you can see that there's not a lot, and this actually dimples out the clavicles here. The collarbone comes out, and then you've got not much at all, which is pushed dramatically outward to try and emphasize it. And then here, you can see here, you've got the breast going up into the armpit as it should, and you've got the axilla coming up around here, and you've got her arm back here over the back of the couch. That's really well done. That's really well constructed. Here's the neck. And there's the pit of the neck. There's the clavicle. There's the other clavicle. Here's the center line, and you can see she's really dramatically pushing that chest out. She's like, look at me, I am not a child. I am totally not a child. Stop looking at me that way. Look at me in another entirely inappropriate way. And then that all fits together. That all fits together, but then right here, you see that the leg pivots around the middle of the pelvis and not down at the crotch level. All of this is very exaggerated. This is one of the issues with using fan art as a reference, is a lot of the time you're finding somebody else's mistakes and you're trying to use those to learn from, and you really need to keep an eye on that and understand that if you're looking at somebody else's mistakes, you don't want to perpetuate those. You don't want to keep doing that same thing. And this is actually really good, these little fingers right here. In fact, let me pull my sketch off of those and let's zoom in on that, and we'll take a closer look. And you can see that this wraps up, and you can see that that structure. There are fingernails provided here, but they're only really emphasized on those first couple of fingers. And you can see kind of how there's more of these first few fingers emphasized. Here's just the edge of the thumb, just barely poking over. And you can just get some of the volume of it from that side plane. You can see right here that you can see here's the thumb and here's the side of the thumb over here. And you got the same basic thing here with the way that this is shaded. You got these sitting in kind of shadow, and you've got the little bits of shadow on the nail. And the nails aren't specifically detailed, but they're there. You can see, as you look at this, you can see that the nails are there, even though they're not outlined. You can just tell they're there because of the way that this little shadow here sits where the nail would be. You know, and this has not only the shadow of the nail, it also has the shadow of that first finger on it. Whereas these don't have as clear an idea. And this is really very well done. You can see where the light is hitting right in there. And it's the same way the light is hitting on this little Easter egg ball that she's holding. And there's even a shadow right there on the thumb, right there on the edge of the thumb. And there's the side of it and whatnot. That's really well done. Really very, very well done. So let's pull that. And this, there's the other shoulder here, and here's the arm back behind here, and the hand has got to be sitting at the end of the arm, so the arm has got to be back here, which means the upper arm has got to be back here. And that comes back to that, you have no way to shorten the bones of your body. So if your hand is here, then your forearm has to be here, and your elbow has to be a precise distance from the shoulder. So it has to be right in there. That's the only place that it can be. Then here we've got right here a little bit more than two and a third, thereabouts. So it's up about a third, which is roughly 3 inches. A third of an anime titty. I cannot get over how fucking ridiculous that is. Why am I even doing that? Yeah, okay. So, let's grab another reference. About Rem Gallio, I haven't pulled her out of anywhere yet. There we go. There's Rem Gallio, and we'll do the new layer, paper. There we go. And now we'll create a new layer. Color. Take the hue down to 0. Make sure we're on black. Okay. And here we have, once again, pointed elbow. This leads up into the wrist. We can't actually see the hand, but we can infer the position of it. And her thumb is around behind here. Okay, and the thumb is probably sticking out right there. We just can't see it. And then there is the, there's that leading up to the shoulder. Here's the back of the shoulders. Here's the front of the shoulders. Here is the neck. Right here. So that neck kind of channels down into there, and here we've got the shape of the head, we got the eyes, we got the nose, we got the mouth right there. And once again, there's that shoulder down to the elbow, down to the wrist here. That'd be the thumb. This would be the hand and the fingers here. There's that. Right here, we've got this little lean. She's leaning back. She's got virtually nothing going on there. One anime titty. Two anime titty. Three anime titty. And then here would be, the curve of the, or the bend rather, in the hip. And there's that sort of, there's the rounding situation there. Here's how all of this fits together. If we pull the reference, then we do have a readable pose. That works. And it's not awful. Now, obviously, you would not just like trace a final piece of art over top of, let me go ahead and start saving these. I'm going to drop that into Clip Studio, and we're going to call it, save that, and we'll close that, and then we'll put that on, and we'll save that in Clip Studio. Again, we're going to go Clip Studio format. I'm going to save. I should really call this None on One, because it's not like this is the last time I'm going to do that. Save as. We're going to jump down into Clip Studio, ESN.Clip Studio. That'll work. Sarah's foot. I'll again save that. I'm trying to save and archive and kind of keep an eye on what I'm doing so that I always have sort of this. I don't really have sketchbooks. I mean, I have sketchbooks, but they're kind of terrible. And let's see here. I got Makiose. That. Makiose. Pictures. Clip Studio. Studio format, save. Close that, and then illustration, I don't need to save that. Anime eyes, that's already saved, I think. I'll hit Control S on it just to be sure, and then there's this illustration. This is nothing really. Yeah, I'm not going to save this. I feel like this is a really terrible live stream. Honestly, I feel like this week's video was not very good. I feel like this week's live stream was not very good. But I do feel like I'm making progress. I feel like I'm accomplishing things. I mean, I've got various stuff that I've done. It's like I've got these anime faces. This is much better than anything I've done up till now. I know that's really fucking sad because this is awful. But at the same time, you know, I've got these things. I'm working with various expressions, and you can see that the eyes have gotten much better on this. I mean, oh my God, those eyes are so much better. And I'm pretty sure I've got. Don't I have another? I have another anime eyes one over here. Yeah. And if I turn that one off and that one, and I come down here. Here's one right there, and there's an eye that I did, and then there are other ones. There's this. I've got a bunch of stuff that I worked on earlier today, and then we've got these. I've got these, and those are mostly examining shapes. And this is kind of just this offhand. I was working from a reference of Reina from Higurashi. Let me see. Let me pull that down. Yeah, I was working off of this as a reference, and just kind of outlining it and trying to do that from looking at the side of that, and the whole thing there. I feel like I made significant progress on that working on it today, and really, I feel like this week was just not very good. And I'm gonna try to do a better job next week. I try to do a better job every week. I mean, what am I saying? You know, I'm not exactly doing a great job any week. There's always room for improvement. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing very well this week. I kind of feel like I should be making more progress. I should have a better read on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and how I'm going to get from here to there. And I just don't, and I'm not sure what to do about that. I mean, it is a thing that I can work on. It is a thing that I can throw something together with. You know, it's like it's just a matter of continuing to do the work, continuing to put the time in. And if I continue to put the time in, I should be able to produce meaningful work that actually looks good in pretty short order. It seems to be taking so much longer than I'd like it to. Yeah, this doesn't look creepy at all. This is, yeah, I'm just kind of roughing something out here, but yeah. Yeah, I should be able to drop the opacity down on that, and we can and start kind of putting something together here. And just like rough in the rough shape of an eye. And then from that rough shape of an eye, this is kind of the thing that I've been doing for my eyes, is I start with a reasonably dark color. for the iris. And then I move to a lighter and less saturated color, and I jack the hue down a little bit. And I do that for like the bottom half. So I put that on the bottom half, and then I go even farther up, and I move the hue a little bit more, and then I do that all the way down on the bottom. Then I get black for the actual pupil. I put the actual pupil in there, and then you just got to do your highlights, and you get kind of double highlight there. The highlights in the eye, from what I can tell, they're based on the direction of the light. So the light needs to be coming from this direction. The big highlight is kind of like the light immediately hitting the eye, and the little highlight is that highlight refracting through the cornea of the eye. That's kind of the image I've got of how that fits together. And then you've got like skin tone, which is kind of something around this color, kind of a light orange. But now that's the stuff I've been kind of sort of working on, and I mean it looks dumb. I mean, I have not done a good job on this. But this is just like throwing stuff out there, you know. I'm throwing the stuff out there really, really fast. And, you know, when I've done it a couple hundred or a couple thousand times, it'll probably look a lot better. But for the moment, it really doesn't. Now, what I can do is I can make a new layer. Digital art gives us all kinds of additional, like, wonderful things that we can do. Let's see. What's this? There's a set as reference layer, isn't there? Yeah, set as reference layer. And now I can draw kind of a desired outline up here. And then I can jump down to the next layer down, and I can go back to the kind of light orange color that I was using. For other layers, boom. There we go. That's something. Let me turn that off. And there we go. Yeah, that's something. It really does not anything very good, but yeah, there's stuff going on here, and we are getting somewhere in terms of the quality of results. I just need to keep working, you know. I'm gonna figure out how to draw proper ears. I need to figure out how to draw like hair and shit. Not so much how to draw hair as how to paint hair. That's really the thing that I'm looking for here. You got kind of this, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. I need to do some study on this. I'm just trying to get something done. But it's not enough to do a shit job and go, hey, that's enough. A shit job is fine, because, you know, I'm just starting out. I shouldn't have to do a great job all the way from the beginning. You should do the best job you can all the fucking time. Look, that covers up the entire ear. I could have just like skipped the ear. Nobody would know. Nobody would ever guess that I covered up the ear because I can't draw a fucking ear. Yeah, that's something, but I don't know that it's anything I want to like share. He said after doing it on a fucking live stream right in front of everybody. Let's do Anime Face 3. That's not good at all. There's all kinds of stuff. The brush was too thick. Like here, I should have used a thinner brush. I should have gone into more detail there. Let's give her a mustache. Let's make it a hem. Let's make it a him. Yeah, that makes it look better because now he's just a dork. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, geez. Remember, the entire purpose of these live streams is to serve as an archive so that years from now, when I'm actually good at this stuff, I can point and go, look, I used to suck too. And then that will be inspirational to people that still suck then. And there's always people that, want to draw some anime and they suck and they need to learn, they need to figure it out. I'm living proof of that. I mean, here I am in my 50s and still trying to draw anime and doing a bad job because I have like reasons I want to do this shit. Yeah, I'm not saving that set of changes. Anyway, that's pretty much, that's all I got here. I don't have anything particularly inspirational tonight. Hey, let me go and see. Yeah, there we go. Oh, there is like stuff going on in chat. Well, that's useful. There are people actually in the chat. But why doesn't that show up in OBS Studio? It should show up in OBS Studio. But it doesn't. It has. I have a little chat area where the chat is supposed to be showing up, but it doesn't show up. So yeah, I'm just kind of. And Locke says that he knows women with a long torso. There are women with long torsos. There is a great deal of variation, and I think when you really kind of pay attention, what you find is, instead of long torsos, what you're seeing is women that have short legs. And that's not necessarily everybody. I have seen women that are very tall and they have long torsos. Their legs are of a typical length. But usually it's the limbs that are shorter than usual, not the torso that is longer than usual. But, it really depends. There is individual variation. There's a huge amount of that. And as I've said a few times before, we're not trying to necessarily represent reality as it actually works. We're trying to represent a certain platonic ideal, which doesn't have to be what everybody else is representing. I mean, you've got the whole woke SJW thing where people are like, skin needs to be darker and bodies need to be bigger and breasts need to be smaller and guys need to be pussies, and you've got people that are kind of pushing back on what the ideal is, and really the ideal is, it's whatever you want it to be, okay? I mean, this is about, art is always about getting the thing in your head out into the world where it can be shared with the rest of the world. And nobody can tell you what's in your head. You're the one who knows what's in your head. You're the one who's putting it out into the world, and whether it's worth putting out into the world, that's up to you. Nobody can tell you that what you put into the world was wrong or bad or that you shouldn't have done it. I mean, unless you're looking at my shit, and half of what I did just now on this stream is bad and wrong and shouldn't have been put into the world. But the other half, you're not the boss of me. You don't get to tell me what I can put into the world. It might be bad, it might be wrong, it might not deserve to be there, but you can't tell me not to do it. And sometimes I think it's the stuff that's bad and wrong and doesn't belong in the world that really needs to be in the world. It's just like, what was this guy? There was that guy who put a crucifix in a jar and pissed on it. And that was like, that was a statement. He was making a statement there. And I don't know if it was necessarily a meaningful statement. I don't know if it was received the way that he wanted it to be received, but I'm not going to tell him he shouldn't have done it. I'm not going to tell the guy who put a urinal into an art gallery that you shouldn't do that. You're in charge of what your art is and what your art means, you know, well, what it means to you anyway. Once it actually gets out there, what it means to the audience, that goes back to the question. The meaning of a communication is what is received. If you communicate to somebody and they get it wrong, that's the meaning of that communication. That's the ultimate result. So you need to get positive handoffs. It's like if you tell somebody something, you say, hey, here's the thing that I want you to know, then you need to confirm that they actually got what you wanted them to know, or it's your fault that they didn't, you know? And with art, you don't get to do that. You put your art out there on the internet, or you put it in a video, or you stick it in a gallery and somebody looks at it and they go, wow, that reminds me of two dogs fucking. And if that's not what you meant, then they've gotten the wrong impression and there's something wrong with your communication, but you don't get to go around and fix it. You don't get to tell everybody, no, you're wrong. You got to fix this is what I meant by that. And there are a number of people, I think Eastern European painters in particular, tend to be of the opinion that they don't define the meaning of their work. You do. They put what they wanted to put into the world. Once it's there. What does it mean? That's you. That's entirely up to you. And I think that's a productive way to look at it. You know, it's just like when I finally get around to doing the artwork for this video game and putting it together and putting it out there, some people are going to play this video game and they're going to go, this is just fucking wrong and it's hysterical, and they're going to think it's hilarious. And other people are going to play that video game and they're going to go, well, this is a violation of, you know, general human dignity. I don't give a fuck. If you don't like my game, don't play my game, you know? Don't fucking play it. That annoys me about people when they get mad at, I got this thing and I don't like it, so it shouldn't be there. Man, fuck you. There are people who like it. Leave them alone. Let them like it. You know, they deserve to have this stuff. I'm going more and more off the rails here. I should probably go to bed. I got a deck to install tomorrow. I got all these fucking cedar boards that I gotta cut to length and get installed. But yeah, that is basically what I got tonight. And it doesn't look like anybody's actively chatting anymore anyway. There may be like a massive delay in stuff coming across. I had a couple of people, or I had a couple of chat messages come through on the last stream, and I never saw them the entire stream. And, you know, this time it's like, you know, they're coming through on the chat, but they're not coming through the way I expect them to for some reason. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. But, you know, things are what they are. Anyway, I need to get to bed so I can get up in the morning and install this fucking deck. So thank you all for coming. It's been great having you here, and I hope you weren't too horrified by the course of the stream. And I never know to end things, so, you know, just like, okay, bye.